and welcome to the 30-day overhead squat mobility challenge. I just want to spend a few moments to talk about what the program's going to entail, what's going to happen every single day, and what I'm asking you to do in terms of participation across the next 30 days to make sure that you're getting the most out of this program. So to start, let's talk about what you're going to expect for 30 days starting on April 1st. Each day, I'm going to be releasing 2 videos. One video is going to be about 10 to 11 minutes long, and it's going to contain about 3 or 4 different drills that you can do alongside with the video. Press play, and you're going to do all the movements along with me. And there's no equipment required for any of these, except perhaps some wall space, a chair, a towel. These are all things that hopefully you will have access to at home. The reason for this is because there are a lot of basic drills and such that we need to go over before adding in additional equipment, like foam rollers, lacrosse balls. Sometimes we rely so much on these additional things to help us out when really we need to work on getting strength and flexibility and mobility and just our own body movements. The second video that I'm going to be releasing each day will be an additional 1 to 2 movements if you happen to have extra things. A resistance band, a PVC pipe, lacrosse ball. These are extra things to do on top of the 10 to 11 minute video if you want that extra bit of work. Whether you are signed up for the email list or in the Facebook page, you will receive a daily email or a daily post with each video. How is this 30-day challenge going to be different than the weekly mobility videos that I've already been posting? Well, first of all, on a lot of those mobility videos, I usually focus on passive stretching and holding positions for a longer period of time. We should realize that mobility has just as much of a neurological component as it has a physical component. Throughout this 30 days, we're actually going to focus also on building strength in mobility, which is probably one of the key things to consider if you want to achieve a deeper squat or better thoracic mobility or ankle mobility or vice versa. A lot of times we do passive stretching and we hold stretches and positions for a long period of time, and many times our mind kind of starts to wander and we think about what we're going to have for dinner, or we're conversing with somebody during class. And what's most important is that we also consider building strength and working on the intensity, the contractions, and getting our muscles used to firing when we're in those mobilized positions. So a lot of the drills that we're going to do are going to incorporate a bit more of a strength building component to them, involving more holds, more contractions, and just more areas that allow you to focus specifically on what you're mobilizing. So what I'm asking you to do throughout the 30 days is to be consistent. Make sure that you're really getting to these videos each day for the 10 minutes. It's going to be so much harder to fall behind in a couple days and then suddenly have to make up about an hour's worth of videos. What we're trying to do here is build the consistency and the habits of mobilizing yourself each day as you need to. We're going to turn this into something that you'll incorporate into your warm-ups before you start to work out. Perhaps it's a morning routine, but these are things that will help build into your lifestyle so you do not have to worry about taking extra time out of your day to insert these in, although you probably are doing that a bit now. But again, all I'm asking you for is about 10 to 15 minutes a day dedicated to this challenge where you can really place that mental focus on what we're doing. There are a couple rules and guidelines for this program that I would like you to adhere to. The first one is doing everything barefoot. And I know that seems a little strange, but if you consider that sometimes our shoes and the height of them can really compensate for our mobility in some ways, like think about how much we rely on weightlifting shoes or that added heel just to be able to get down deeper into a squat or a pistol. And what we want to do is be able to build up your mobility and strength without the necessary added benefit of having a shoe as a helper in order to get that mobility. So doing everything barefoot, I think you're going to see a lot more progress if you focus on what you're able to do in just your own bare feet. You're going to have a lot more connection with the floor, be able to work on ankle mobility, hip mobility a lot better when we don't have that added shoe component. So if you can, try to do anything in your socks or barefoot is just totally fine for this. And I think that you're going to get a lot more out of that if you just remove the shoe component. The second guideline is never approach pain. Okay, that is a huge thing here. A lot of the movements that we're going to do will feel slightly uncomfortable. They might feel that they're starting to push zones that you aren't experienced in before. It's possible there may be some like cramping, but never should you ever approach pain. If there's any point where something feels really sharp, where it's just totally intolerable, then that's where your ending point is. Do not push that. I mean, the reason being is this is not supposed to injure you in any way. In fact, it's supposed to hopefully do the opposite. It's supposed to help strengthen you in mobilizing these areas. And so if anything feels abruptly painful, either like a sharp jolt of pain or just something that really you're not certain about, then don't push there. That's totally fine. You are working to your own individual capabilities. All of us are at different levels. And so that is a boundary that you should set for yourself, is don't do anything that feels painful. If it feels like there is a slight uncomfortableness to it, like perhaps you're struggling to hold it, there's a shakiness, maybe a little cramping involved, that is probably normal. But again, just being really aware about whether or not you feel that this is a painful experience or not. We do not want that here. So hopefully we do not reach that point, but I just want to set that guideline for you. Okay, the third component and guideline is weekly interaction. So this is going to be more beneficial for both you and me if I can get your feedback and interaction throughout the program. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, if you're in the Facebook group, is I will post a weekly check-in for you to just come in and leave some comments. I'll ask some guiding questions about how the week went, what's your go-to stretch, what improvements, what struggles are you going through, just so I can make sure that I'm staying connected with you. If you're on the email list, I'm going to ask you to fill out a weekly survey that will involve similar questions. How did the week go? What's your go-to stretch? What struggles? What wins did you have? And this is, again, an opportunity for me to get some feedback from you to figure out what's working, perhaps what's not working, what's maybe confusing if you don't feel this is helping at all. And this is only going to help me to develop the program much better for you. Again, this is my first time around doing this, and this is a total experiment. Though hopefully my experience as a teacher creating a syllabus, we can start somewhere and hopefully evolve this program to something that will be really helpful for you by the very end, and then even beyond that. So your feedback and your interaction, either within the group or with me by email, I would absolutely love for that to happen. I think it's also very exciting, and just to see what other people are up to motivate each other, and to also just stay in tune with the program. Okay, so let's talk about what I'm gonna need you to do before we start on April 1st. And the biggest thing is taking your before and after photos. Your before photos to start off. And so this is gonna help establish a really great baseline at the start of the month to see just kind of where you are right now. Later at the end of the month, I'm also gonna ask you to take your after photos before warming up. The goal is to see what your mobility looks like before you've done any routines or warmed up or have lifted weights or do whatever you're gonna do. I wanna see that you have significant improvement just from being cold before warming up, and before, having stretched out your hips and gotten 2 inches deeper. So a couple guidelines for the before photos. Try to wear tight-fitting clothing if you can, so tights is fine. If you wear baggy stuff, it's going to be much harder to really see significant little intricacies. So if you can, just wear tights or, regular shorts if you're a guy. That should be totally fine. So I'm going to ask you to take 2 photos, one from directly the front, and you're going to be holding your arms up overhead, trying to push your arms back straight as far as you can behind your ears in the squat. So you're going to go into your deepest squat, reaching the arms overhead. And then I'm also going to ask you to take the same photo from the side, a side view, just to kind of see what your depth is, and then how far your arms are behind you. And see if you can set your camera up maybe about a foot from the floor, and that usually gets the best angle. So somewhere around knee height is fine for the camera when you're down in your squat. If it's taken too high, it kind of crunches the perspective of the legs and everything like that. So if you take it just about a foot from the floor, that's usually about right in terms of the angle. So if you're in the Facebook group, I'm gonna ask you to post your before photos in a designated post. Now, if you don't feel comfortable sharing your photos with everyone in the group, please direct message those to me. So either by a direct message or either by an email. I would like to see kind of where you are before so that we can compare the after. And if you're getting my email list, just reply to the email with your before photos. Go ahead and send those to me whenever you're ready, either in the post or send them to me by email. And these are all private. I don't do anything with them except hide them in a little folder with your name. And just to compare like before and afters. I like to see everyone's got different body types and whatnot. So it's good to have this frame of reference. Okay, so I think that does that for the intro video today. I look forward to working with everyone across the next month with this program, and hopefully we can see some significant improvements in your overall squat depth or your thoracic mobility, ankle mobility, all those different components that we're going to go over in the next 30 days. So take care, get those before photos taken, and I will see you on April 1st.